Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Fatimah Nuraini from Accounting Department, Faculty of Economic and Business, Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. Data from Central Statistics Agency showed that were 106 private universities and 11 universities in Yogyakarta City, with a total approximately 250,000 students, especially in Yogyakarta City, one of the districts of the Special Regency of Yogyakarta, has the highest level of private universities in this province. Yogyakarta City has 45 private universities with approximately 70,000 students in 2018. The law number 23 of 2014 has authorized local government through regional autonomy. One of the authorization is managing local tax as a potential sources of the regional revenue. Special Region of Yogyakarta is one of the regional autonomy and has the predicate as a city of education. These students are not only from Yogyakarta, but also from outside of the area that has an impact on the increasing of demand for temporary housing known as boarding houses. Based on the data from Investment and Licensing Office of Yogyakarta, total boarding permit or IMP for boarding house from 1969 to 2018 reached 710 boarding houses. These data are the accumulation of boarding houses for various room categories. Based on Article 4, Paragraph 2 of the Regional Regulation of Yogyakarta City, Number 1 of 2011, the object of hotel tax, including boarding houses that have more 10 rooms with air conditioner facilities. So, in this context, Yogyakarta government doesn't separate the boarding houses income tax from the hotel tax. Therefore, according to the Regional Regulation of Yogyakarta City, Number 1 of 2011, the owner of boarding house or the landlord, Yogyakarta City has two obligations. The first one is paying the income tax and collecting data from the renter, and also the second one is depositing the boarding houses tax to the tax authorities. The hotel tax realization data in Yogyakarta always above 100% from year 2015-2018. Meanwhile, based on the Finance and Assessment Management Board of Yogyakarta, there are only 21 boarding houses from total 710 boarding houses in Yogyakarta City, which are paying the boarding house tax in 2018. So, based on this condition, the Yogyakarta City government has a high potential for boarding house tax, but it has not been optimally effective. This research is a further development of Mardiansa research, which analyzes the influence of taxpayers' perception on tax knowledge, taxpayers' environment, and taxation on the taxpayers' compliance. The differences between the variables of this study and the previous studies is the quality of tax service authorities variables. This variable is an external factor that especially describing the taxpayer's environment variable. This research analyzed the influence of taxpayers' perception on tax knowledge, taxpayers' environment, quality of tax service authorities, and taxation on the taxpayers' compliance level. The first theory that used in this research is attribution theory. Attribution theory is used to explain the high level of the factor consensus, distinctiveness, and consistency become individual external factors. Situations that support external attribution, namely taxpayers' environment, quality of tax service authorities and tax sanctions. While internal factors are only influenced by the high consistency of individuals that can be obtained if taxpayers have high knowledge. The second theory of this research is theory of time behavior. Based on this theory, if the behavior belief, normative belief, and control belief factors have been fulfilled, then a person will have the intention to behave. So, after the three factors has been fulfilled, the taxpayers realize their intention by fulfilling their obligation of tax. The method of this research is purposive sampling. The purposive sampling is used to limit the research subject, research object, and research areas. The research subject is a landlord who had more than 10 rooms with air conditioner facilities that located in 5 sub-districts in Yogyakarta city. There are Waharjo, Kota Gede, Gondokusuman, Birabrajan, and Gondomanan sub-district. This research used method by door-to-door and short interview to collect data from 32 boarding houses owner or the landlord. The variables of this research consist of 4 independent variables and 1 dependent variable. The variable measurement scale using a 5-point Likert scale. In order to test the quality of the research instruments, there are 3 stages that should be fulfilled. The first stage is the research data analysis. This stage is done with the pilot test. The pilot test conducted to find out whether the question item from the studies is understood or understandable or not by the respondents. Then, it's performed the validity test and also the reliability test. The second stage of the research instrument quality test is descriptive statistics. And then, the last stage of the research instrument quality test is the classic assumption test consisting of the normality test, the multicollinearity test, and also the heteroscedasticity test. To test the relationship between the dependent variable and independent variable, the researchers used multiple regression tests with the SPSS 15 for Windows application. Adjusted R-square test result is 0.676. This means that the taxpayer's compliance rate could be affected by 67.6% variable in this research, while the remaining 32.4% is explained by other variables not studied in this research. It's known that the value of significance is 0.0 less than alpha or double 0.5. This means that the factors found in the model test can explain dependent variables better than their constant. The result of hypothesis 1 tests that the regression coefficient is positive at 0.319 and the significance value is less than 0.05. It means significance 0.77 less than alpha 0.05. So that the first hypothesis is supported. Therefore, taxpayers' compliance of the tax knowledge has a positive effect on taxpayers' compliance of boarding house owners. The results of hypothesis 2 shows that the regression coefficient is positive at 0.011 and the significance value is greater than 0.05. It means significance 0.956 more than A or 0.05, so that the second hypothesis not supported. Therefore, the taxpayer's environment has no effect on the taxpayer's compliance of boarding house owners. The results of hypothesis 3 shows that the regression coefficient is positive at 0.980, and the significance value is less than 0.05, or it means significance at 0.0 less than alpha 0.05, so that the third hypothesis is supported. Therefore, tax authority service quality has a positive effect on taxpayers' compliance of boarding house owners. The results of hypothesis 4 shows that the regression coefficient is negative at 0.747, and the significance value is smaller than 0.05. It means significance 0.002 less than alpha value of 0.05, so that the fourth hypothesis is unsupported. Therefore, taxations has no effect on taxpayers' compliance of boarding house owners. So, as the results of this research, the first is the tax knowledge has a positive effect on the taxpayers' compliance of boarding house owners in Yogyakarta. And the second, that the environmental of the taxpayers has a negative effect of the taxpayers' compliance of the boarding house owners in Yogyakarta. And the third variable, that the tax service authorities has a positive effect of the taxpayers' compliance of boarding house tax in Yogyakarta City. And the last, as the fourth variable, that the sanction has a negative effect on the taxpayers' compliance of boarding house owners in Yogyakarta City. Thank you for your participation in 6th International Conference of Accounting and Finance Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. I'm Fatimah Nuraini. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.